Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of the Now Selling podcast, brought to you by Ray White Chemis Brothers and presented by myself, Chip McCabe. I'm here with my co-host, Ryan Baker. Ryan, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good. How are you?
Mate, I am amped up. I'm pumped up. I'm jacked up because we have got, for our first ever guest on the podcast today, an absolute legend of the game. Now, Ryan and I, we're in sales, as everyone possibly knows. And in sales, mate, you've got to frame it up. You know this, right?
100%.
You've got to frame it up. So I'm going to the big book of introductions. You got it last time. You got it on the first one. I've made some notes. Don't worry about it, okay? Because we've got a man here today who some in the industry, myself included, may go as far to say is the GOAT. Okay? Oh, yeah. May go as far to say is the GOAT. Are you ready? Here we go. Strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. You're about to go on a journey. 16-year veteran of the finance industry, one of the top mortgage brokers in the country. He's got a Rolodex and a client list that represents something like a Hollywood talent agency. One of the owners of the home loan shop right here in Lower Hutt, also central Wellington. Everyone's heard of the home loan shop. Of course, through his leadership skills, he supported the growth and development of that company to be one of the largest, well, one of the best, I should say, mortgage advisor businesses in the country. He's now the big dog, the top boss, the managing director at Palmer and Cook Developments, one of Wellington's largest development companies, building houses all over the Hutt Valley, out into Wellington, up the Kapiti Coast, through his live local, build local mantra, representative of the fact that he's a Hutt boy through and through. He can hit a ball, he can putt a ball, he can throw a ball, he can kick a ball, sometimes all at the same time. Incredible. He's a connoisseur of all things fine, including food and wine. He is my brother from another mother. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mark Cook. Cookie, how are you?
I'm well, and I don't know if I have to say anything else.
All right, we're calling it there. There's our podcast over.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Hey, mate, no, the appreciation comes from us. I know you're a busy man, and I just wanted to first and foremost say, hey, look, thank you so much for taking the time to join with us here today. As I said at the start, we're really excited about this because, as you've just heard, those are the spark notes, and we're going to fill some gaps. I know that you're a man that is pressed on time, so look, let's kick right into it. Maybe you could just rewind the clock a little bit. Take us back. That's a huge, kind of a CV, if you will, from me. But take us back. Where did you start? How did you start? And how did you get to where you are today?
Where did I start? Well, in the finance game.
Even go back a little bit before that. I mean, let's talk high school. Where did you go to high school?
Went to high school, Hutt Valley High School, for sport, basically.
For short?
Yeah. Didn't attend too much mathematical classes. I actually, on that, when I was a mortgage broker, one day I had a call out to go and do a home loan in Petone, and I got to the front door.
Yep.
And it was my maths teacher from Hutt High.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah. And
he's like, who have I got here?
Yeah, and we kind of looked at each other. I had a cup of tea with him. We didn't do a mortgage application. We agreed that this just didn't seem right.
It's not the right relationship?
Yeah, and I left again. But no, I went to Hutt High, played first 15, first 11, loved my sport.
Absolutely.
Loved just being part of a team, seeing a team develop and grow together and get results.
Yep.
And that was my first drive of, trying to lead, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Came out of high school, the old man owned a joinery factory.
James Cook Joinery, shout out.
Similar to, Ryan's upbringing, like real hard-working Lower Hutt family. If you want something, you got to work for it.
Yep.
So I would sweep the floors in school holidays.
Nice. Yep.
Clean out the factory, clean the tea room.
Yep.
And then just repeat it every day. And not get paid for it.
Yeah, I love this. And it's I mean, Ryan, you spoke about it in your episode, your old man having a business since he was 20. Same thing. I came from the same environment, the shop floor, sweeping the shop floor, literally after school, every day, working your way up from there. It's a commonality that you find amongst, successful people or driven people. I'll say driven people, is they do have a bit of that background, don't they? You guys have both nailed it. If you want to get it, you got to work for it.
Yeah,
I think that's crucial.
Yeah, and that was installed really early on. Again, like Ryan spoke about, and I guess getting into the finance industry was trying to get out of working in the factory.
Just do anything else.
Yeah. So my auntie worked at ANZ.
Yep.
She got me an interview with Jenny Dara, a branch manager at Lambton Quay. It was North End Lambton Quay, so it was surrounded by politicians.
For sure.
White collar.
You're in the hub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I started as a teller. And
So
I
you
was,
started as a bank teller.
Yeah.
How good?
And I was useless. So I'd have rugby training to get to back out at Petone, and my teller booth just wouldn't balance. And I was like, I got to get to rugby training. And they're like, just go.
How old are you at this stage?
I was 18.
18. So
Yeah.
straight out of high school?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
working obviously at James Cook Joinery. Then you get your teller job, 18 years
Yeah.
of age. Wow.
So, and then the CEO at the time was Nikki Ashton, hugely inspirational
Yep.
woman. She jumped me straight from a teller into basically sales. So
Gotcha.
straight into mortgages.
Yep.
Straight into insurance, straight into bank account opening.
Wow.
And it was like I was in the deep end.
So is this still in the branch? You
Still in the
same
branch.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was writing mortgages. It was pretty daunting.
Yeah, I mean, 18.
And like this makes me feel old, but like I would go out the back to get something off the fax quite often, and I'm like,
me.
no, what do I say now?
Sink or swim moment.
We've got we've got a separation
Yeah.
in my office. Yeah, good times. But quite often, like fast forwarding to when I became a mortgage broker, I would relate that experience back and say, hey, if you go into the branch,
Yeah.
this is what I was, and that's what
Yes.
you could get walking into a branch.
So even when you're doing that, you're learning, aren't you? And you're learning the
100%.
things that you're going to use in the future because that's what experience is.
Yeah.
It's all that foundation stuff that you
Yeah,
built.
absolutely. So, and Nikki came in one day and she said to me, hey, I just wanted to let you know you've earned your bonus.
Wow.
You've reached it. And I was like, I didn't know I had targets.
Look at that, yeah.
And she said, well, I wanted to teach you that if you treat people the right way and you do the right things for people, you can get there without overselling.
100%.
And an awesome lesson.
Oh, great
It's a
lesson.
wicked lesson, yeah.
Yeah. So went from there down to the main Lambton Quay branch.
Yep.
And Robin Dodd was my manager there. That's where I met my wife, Gemma.
Hey, shout outs to Gemma.
Yeah, beautiful woman.
Yep.
And he encouraged me to go for a mobile mortgage manager role, and I was only 21.
Wow.
And I worked out, I think we had a target of like 20 mortgages for 3 months, and I got 60 or 80. And they were like, "How did you do it?"
Yep.
And you know, there's ways of doing that. There's jip the system basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I went up to an interview for a mobile mortgage manager role in Auckland, and I just put that on the table.
Yep.
And I said, "You're going to hit me up for being 21."
Yes. Yeah.
And
I
I
was
was
just
like,
about to ask that. How
yeah.
old were you at this stage? Yeah.
And I said, "I just had my 21st, and there were a couple of hundred people at it."
Wow. Wow. Yes.
My core friends want to buy houses,
Gotcha.
and that's how big my group is.
Wow.
So I got that role.
Yep.
Mobile mortgage manager for 2 or 3 years. So that sort of led into the recession.
So yeah, this is all pre-GFC, isn't
Yeah,
it?
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is before, we're talking 2007, 2008.
Yeah, so we get to GFC, and I thought, where can I learn more than anything?
Yeah.
In business banking.
Yeah,
Like
gotcha. Yeah.
small, medium-sized core New Zealand companies that are going to struggle.
Backbone in New Zealand.
So I went for a business manager role,
Yep.
and it was the hardest years of my life.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
But my manager at the time, Charlie Howe, said, this is going to be hard, but you will never regret this.
Yeah.
And like I remember sitting in front of 50, 60-year-old men asking for extensions at Christmas, and telling them they had to sell their Audi to get them through the period. And it was it was rough, man. Yeah. But they were conversations you would try and get out of them. But in this role, that's your job, you know.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the credit team had no flavour for a mobile mortgage manager in business banking because
Gotcha.
I wrote home loans to get commission.
Yeah. And
So
and in terms of that team, they've obviously come up through are they quite in terms of the business banking side of thing, orientated towards that as a field? They were, trying to get into that, probably got a little bit more of that kind of personality.
Yeah, and there's a lot of understanding financial accounts, balance sheets.
Yes. Yeah.
So I did that role, and I always externally networked, so I'd never relied on someone coming in the door.
Yep.
I used to have this like leather wallet like for my cards. It was like A4 size, and I'd just fill it with as many cards in it as I could of someone that could get me.
It's the Rolodex,
that one.
And it's true, like that's back in the day as well, where it's like there's no Facebook, Instagram, like today, you can direct message someone. I mean, that's that true grind, right? Like that's the basis of business.
Yeah, absolutely. And the home loan shop was a card in that wallet.
Yeah, gotcha. I see what you're doing here. You're transitioning into a story. I like it.
Yeah. So
not his first rodeo, that's for sure, Ryan.
So Marty and Greg were the directors at the home loan shop with another mate of Greg's, Laurie, and it took me 18 months to get the confidence to leave the bank.
Yeah.
And the old man said, I think this is the wrong thing, man. I don't know what you're doing here.
Well, because, look, you're on paper, salary probably, bonus structure. You're in something that you've been doing for a long time, and you're going from that to the complete opposite.
Yeah, and Adrian Palmer, now my business partner.
Yep.
He's like, just do it, mate.
Yep.
Just do it.
For sure.
Like, if it doesn't work, I'll find something for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I did. So I arrived at the home loan shop, and unfortunately, Greg Scott's wife passed away within weeks of me joining.
Yep.
And there was Kylie, who I'd on the front desk, who I'd referred to the home loan shop.
That's right. Yep.
And Marty went to Malaysia for like 6 weeks.
Yep.
So I was running the home loan shop.
just after starting.
Yeah.
So, and this is just as you've started. So it took you 18 months to leave the bank. Yeah. And then you're like, boom, straight in the deep end. Now
corner of Victoria Street in the city, running a mortgage company.
That must have been such a trip. Like, you must have been like, wow.
Yeah, but they installed so much confidence and support that they were like, you got this, man.
Yeah.
Like, and the unique thing about that was like, Greg took a year off, and I looked after his customers, and I basically went from no income to him saying, we'll go halves in everything.
Gotcha.
And we got through every single customer settlement, and it kind of had an unbreakable friendship and director relationship that it was just
wicked, man.
An unreal friendship. Yeah. So after that year, when he was away, I was like, I signed a lease for Lower Hutt. He came and said, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, because you're expanding.
Yeah. I'm expanding now, mate.
You left me in charge. I'm in a growth mindset.
Yeah. So we're opening branches and and he's like, I'm never taking time off again. So became an owner, and I was there 9 years.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I had started the property development probably 2 years prior to leaving, and I could feel myself burning out.
Yeah, gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah, we had Emerson.
Yes.
About that, he was 25 weeks at birth.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Pretty traumatic.
Yep.
But learn a lot from that. Just you never sweat on the small things when you go through something like that.
100%.
And that helped a lot. But I felt those small things starting to come back.
Yep.
So I took 6 weeks off and applied the same learnings with Greg.
Yep.
Stephen Hogg covered me.
Yep.
We had the same deal set up.
Nice.
And in that 6 weeks, it wasn't deliberate, but I made a decision that property development was my new gig.
I remember you calling me, and I remember you saying, I'm going to take 6 weeks. And I think I remember you, and I was like, do what? And you're like, I'm going to give it this time and see if it's the right thing for me.
Yeah. And Gemma, she'll pipe up if there's something important to say.
Of course, yeah.
And she said, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah,
Hundy. And that was cool.
Yeah, and that's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, so, and then one day we turned up at Charleston Ave, and Adrian said, I'll cover the capital.
Yep.
You've been doing this for everyone else for, 18 years or something.
Yeah.
I want you to you just do it.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care if we lose money, we break even, we make money.
Yeah.
Just learn.
Yeah.
And an unreal support and opportunity that I just couldn't turn down.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it, to have someone that believes in you that much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like to actually go, you know, I've seen what you've done. I know what you've created in terms of your network, in terms of your circle. I've seen what you've been able to apply, implement, you know, with these other business and grow them. Mate, here you go. Here's the reins, and I want you to run with it.
Yeah, it's an unreal relationship with Adrian. And we go back through family ties and
for sure.
Other traumatic events
that
we've got through.
Yeah.
But basically if we ever argue, it's not we're trying to force the other one to get more than their share, you know.
Pushing.
Yeah. Saying no, you take that.
Yeah.
So that was the environment that was in, like, the home loan shop taught me massive amount of how to create an environment, how to treat people, how to have fun, and that's just all been installed in what Palmer and Cook is today.
100%.
And so for the last 7 years, I've been property developing.
God, has it been 7 years now? It has too.
Man, that's gone fast, eh?
Yeah, it has. Just going back to the home loan shop as well, how important, because it's a bit of a setup question here though, you mentioned people, like even from when you're 21st, you've got 200 people at that 21st party. I know for a fact your wedding in Waiheke that I wasn't invited to, but I know it was huge as well. Just drop that little nut in there, right? We didn't know each other that well back then. But you used to have a saying to me about people, and it was about people capital, or you'll know the
human
saying.
currency.
Human currency.
Yeah.
How important is relationships in business, and what do you attest to the way that you've been able to, you know, create those relationships throughout your time? Is it just something that's been passed down, or is it something you've got to work on?
Yeah. Well, I think like going to a school of 2,000 plus kids and trying to work out how to fit in. Then
it's a great way of looking at it, by the way. That's
moving to a direct relationship role with businesses, home loans, like the most stressful period of someone's life.
Yeah.
And having to roll that roller coaster, even through weekends when all the other banks are shut. It teaches you a lot around dealing with people's emotions and how to look after someone, and how to, you know, all different emotions that they're chucking at you.
Hard out.
And human currency is one of my favorite sayings.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because it's got nothing to do with dollars. It's whether it's a favor or it's just being a step ahead of a scenario or something that someone needs.
Yep.
And you're a step ahead of them. Like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed in that situation. And you get a lot of
you feel good from it.
Oh, totally. The effect it has on you personally is something that it becomes addictive, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, and the home loan shop just oozes that, mate.
Yeah. Well, and Ryan, I'll bring you in here as well, because it's exact. I mean, it's so similar to what we do as well, you know. And I was listening to something today, and it was about real estate agents focusing so much on, you know, the transaction, which is the passover of the deal. But it's not that. It's all the things we do in between that. Wouldn't you say?
100%, mate. Yeah. How you treat people, the relationships. I mean, that was something that I was going to ask you as well. You know, you're a very successful person, but also very humble and grounded as well. Are there any kind of attributes or things that you practice in terms of like trying to remain very grounded, or are you just, is that just the way you are, or, you know, you focus on that much, or?
Well, I think you know, everyone in this room could say the same for you. And it's a question I ask myself a lot. Like, is it a real Kiwi thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, is it the tall poppy thing, or is it the way we're brought up? But then I'm just really comfortable with being that way. You know, like I was just I think it shines transparency and honesty, and so people are more willing to work with you.
One thing I was really interested in asking you, Cookie, was that you know, during your time through your career, whether it was financing, whether it was development, was there anything or any way that you were able to kind of, if you hit some hardship, if you hit a kind of wall that you couldn't get through, how did you deal with that, and how did you keep pushing forward to maintain momentum? Yeah,
really good question. I think back to that relationships question, man. Like, the stronger your core circle of helpers, the easier those situations are.
So you surround yourself with good people.
100%. Yeah. And it's, big time, eh? Like, I remember 21, 22, and I bought, when I was a mobile, I was like, how am I going to sell property if I don't own any?
Yeah.
I was like, I just got to start buying stuff.
Good point. Yep.
So, and I bought 2 apartments in town, and one, I got this letter, and it was like, it's leaky.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was like about $100,000.
Yep.
I was like, I don't have $100,000.
What am I going to do here?
Yeah.
You're like, I went out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night.
I got 3 new Tarakash shirts, but I don't have $100,000.
Still getting my seats from Tarakash.
Yeah. And I was like, it's kept me awake.
Yeah.
Because my support network then was smaller.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And then it became 200. I was like,
oh wow. So I jumped from 100 to 200.
because all of a sudden it was earthquake as well.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And did you say this was 2019, did you say?
Yeah, well, 21, so about 2004 or 5.
Oh, yeah, so way back. Yeah.
And I had to hit my old man up.
Yeah.
Because that was my support network.
Yeah, got you.
And it's never easy, is it?
Man,
asking,
and he said,
especially TC.
Well,
I'm lucky if I can ask him for a mulligan on hole 8. Martinborough.
yeah. Give a gimme, get one, eh? He said, what would you do if I couldn't help you?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I just said I would be knackered, but I will pay you every cent back. I swear.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
But if I'm in a situation with that much stress now, I've got the support network. It doesn't, like I said, human currency. It's not financial.
Yeah.
And you go back now to the home loan shop. You go back to Palmer and Cook.
Yep.
Where these guys are just so bought in, and they give their heart and soul to delivery.
Yeah.
Like I've got that support for. And I get them probably now. Like that might have been once every 4 years, and it becomes, and that comes with risk taking, So I'm 100%. Presented it more than ever now. And then all of a sudden it's once a year. Now it's like on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Right, support team. How are we going to get through this?
Yeah.
Oh, and look, it's such an important thing to bring up. We talk about it all the time, Candice and I, about it's your circle, and a circle goes round and round. So if you've got bonds, if you've got relationships, if you've got those people you trust more than anything else, a circle can never be broken.
And just to relate that back to business now, like I've got the most incredible solicitor, Joe McDonald.
Joe McDonald, shout out to Joe.
Yeah.
Loves a gin.
I've got the most incredible business partner, Adrian, and we've talked about him. Adam, Curtis, and Blair in the office.
Well, let's just before we go, let's give a bit of background on that as well, because that was something I'm going to bring up, and it's timely. Because when you to roll it back a little bit, when you first started at Palmer and Cook, when you took your 6 weeks off, right now I'm going to jump in. I'm in the deep end now. I'm going to go develop houses across the Hart Valley.
Yeah.
You were the only one. It was Cookie.
Yeah.
That was it. And so then you brought on obviously Mr. Sirota, Adam Sirota. Now we've got Curtis in there. We've got Blair. He's up in there as well. Curtis White. But these are guys you all knew. These are guys you didn't just go and you could have, put out a Seek job advert. I'm looking for these people in these fields. But you've handpicked these guys that you've known for some of them 20 plus years.
Yeah, and I have. And I think it's by default you'd say, hey, they are your best friends.
Yeah.
But an element of trust is there to say, hey, come and work with me. But these 3 guys were, in my opinion, being completely underestimated to what their capabilities were. Like Curtis had been with Dulux for nearly 20 years. The role that we presented him was a role he had tried to get 2 or 3 times. And he absolutely smashes it for us.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, and that's back to that. How have you around creating success, whether it's for myself or my inner group. It's installing confidence in people that they are really good at what they do.
Yes.
Like, Emma Elliott, our designer, anyone around you, it's like, hey, you're qualified, you're a professional, you're really good at this.
Yes.
So be yourself and give me the best you've got. Like, and don't undermine their decisions.
Yeah.
And they just unclip their wings and they go, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you look at every single person in their individual roles, because they're out there, they're experts. I mean, and none of them have worked for like a big development company like that before, but they just come into the mold so easily. Whether it's and they all like I said, whether it's Adam, whether it's Curtis, whether it's Blair, what they apply, they all apply so well, but they are unapologetically authentic. Yeah, and I think that's key, right? Like Sirota's Sirota, you know what I mean? Just like your cookie's cookie, just like Brian's Ryan.
You know what you're getting.
No one's trying to pretend to be anyone else.
Yeah, you can teach someone how to get a resource consent approved.
For sure.
You can't teach the qualities these guys have.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and just back to giving them full reign.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you've listed properties for me. You've created, you and Candy, you've created media for me.
100%.
And you've always said to me, I love doing it because you give me a free license.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, look, from a creative, point of view, the whole point of being a creative is to not be tied down. And the beauty of working for Palmer and Cook, going right back to Charleston Avenue, is the ability that you said, okay, off you go. Like, it was only two houses in that stage, and then we went from there to Kamahi, and then you're like, yeah, I love that, just off you go. And then whenever we would do a rap video or something, I'm like, I'm gonna do this thing where I put like a videotape in, and then it's gonna be like all like bzz, 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 and all this other stuff, and then we're gonna rewind it, and then we're gonna it's gonna be like 5 minutes long. And you're like, yeah, all good,
Cookie's
just
go hard.
Yeah. So we had the ability to be able to create our own, narrative and ideas around that. But in turn, what that did for the Palmer and Cook brand is it created a really fresh approach to what you guys do. And if you look at the figures in terms of the engagement we get whenever we put a video up or a post, and that then translates down into, again, we're talking about people, your subbies, your builders, the TS building crew, the amount of people that when we put a video up that text me and go, mate, that was amazing, we love, and that's evolved as well. Do you know what I mean? So clipping the wings, 100%.
Yeah. And that goes for all our sub-trades, that are building our houses now. It's the same approach, and it's real,
And that's something that also, like when you spoke about coming through your early years as in financing and everything like that, the people that almost gave you those opportunities and those lessons that you learned back then, it's almost like the passing of the torch. Like you've almost been able to give that opportunity back to the people that you see potential in as well.
100%.
Great point.
Yeah. And like I guess call that social awareness,
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Like just real little things as well. Like I'll challenge myself to remember everyone's name on a job site.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
People want to be recognised. They want to be known. Do you know how amazing it is when the developer, the boss, walks onto a site? And I walked around Hautana Lane with you today. And you walk past these guys and you acknowledge them and you tell them, hey, boss, how you going? Blah, blah, blah. And they love it. And you can see it. It comes across that it actually means something to a lot of people.
Absolutely. It's a mixture of that, and I hate being called boss.
Yeah,
and so a lot of people do just to rack me up.
Yeah, of course.
So I hate
new name.
Yeah. So
I can't wait now. I'm going to check every text now. G'day, boss. Hey, boss.
Ask Curtis about that. But no hierarchy whatsoever.
Yeah. And I even hear that as well through the industry and being on sites and talking to trades and things like that. They're like, man, the Palmer and Cook guys are always down. They're doing barbecues. They're talking to us.
And see, that means so much to me. Like, that's what we want to hear.
That word of mouth, Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a good point. Let's bring it to Palmer and Cook now, because obviously a massive transition going from, being in the mortgage industry to heading up, and at the time probably wasn't as large as what you guys are now. And obviously you've brought on the people in order to facilitate the amount of, just the scale of what your business is. But how do you go from, being a mobile mortgage manager to owning a mortgage advisory business to then going, I'm going to be a developer? Like, how much training did you have to do, and how do you learn about all this stuff? Like, I mean, how much time in the day do you have? Like, it's pretty crazy to think about, because, you didn't do like a 4 or 5 year, a degree or something and then go through the ranks and all of a sudden you get a, associate director's role and blah, blah, blah for a major firm. You've done it all off the cusp of yourself. Like, how did that play out?
And there's like a lot of, back again to core circle, like I grew up and flattered with a best man at my wedding, Kurt Gibbons.
Yep.
He's the same story.
Gibbons and Co. 100%.
Yeah. And it's just the way we it's all practical learning really, isn't it? Yep. And I mean, back the home loan shop, I was I was financing people doing this, so I was exposed to
Gotcha.
I was exposed to a lot of how to do and how not to.
Yeah.
And then it's basically in the first one we did, we used a larger home building company in A1.
Yep.
So it was learning the traits of how do they do it.
Yep.
And then like now we're getting down to like critiquing the tapware. The plants. So we've gone from like a real, here is a custom build house, and you're not going to make millions overnights, but this is how they do it, to now really like defining who we are, and to the last I'd say bit of bark, but sometimes it is.
It is.
Is it limestone or bark?
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of practical learning, but kind of processed and a bit slower than just jumping into it and hoping that the market skyrockets like it did a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been interesting to me, because I feel like, being on that Charleston and then Kamahi, and then, in the early stages of Palmer and Cook, I've watched you evolve. And one of the things that I've noticed is, very similar to other managing directors that I've worked with, is that, you've got such a cross section you're across everything. Do you know what I mean? So like, whether it's the initial design, or whether it's like you said, we want this tapware, to being down on the site, checking in with the boys, to being at the roof shout, to being at the handovers, to being dealing directly with the clients if there's been, you have such a, you're not just sitting, you said hierarchy before, you're not just sitting up the top, and then bouncing out orders and going, right, well, I'll check the financials when they come in. You're literally across the board, and that leadership does actually drain down to your other guys as well. So is that something, especially, let's talk about the design stuff, because I know you're really hands-on with that. Is that growing up working for someone like Tony, who's obviously massive in the kitchen and joinery business, and watching his attention to detail? Do you think that's where you get it from?
Yeah, a few questions in there, but
sorry.
Yeah.
Dissect that.
Yeah. I'm used to you being excited.
Yeah. Cut it in post.
Oh man, the joinery upbringing for sure. Like, remember there's Cobb and Go down on the foreshore, and it's like, oh my God, Dad's lining up the stair rail to see if it's straight. And you're like,
everywhere he goes.
I'm just here for a Pink Panther, mate. But yeah, man, I would often say, whether it's, I often refer back to having, hey, I was brought up by a joiner. The joiner's eye. Yeah. And then it also puts pressure on yourself to maintain that quality, because that's your family were high level joinery.
For sure.
So but back also to being a part of everything. I think that just says I love what I do.
Yes.
If I wasn't doing that, I'm probably over it.
For sure.
But like I wake up, I have a coffee, check my emails, I check the weather. Because and then once I check the weather, I check if the brickies are there. And then I start firing out WhatsApp messages to people, and then I get the kids up. And it's and I'm on.
Oh yeah, I've definitely had some 5:30 a.m. emails from Mark.
But and like you go, should I be doing this? But I think that just shows you still got the energy, and and
I think that's critical, right?
Because I was going to actually ask, like, through everything, what is your major why? And I guess you kind of answered it there. Is it earning the money? Do you do it for family? Is it,
And I ask that question to a lot of people.
It's an interesting one.
And a lot of people don't like my answer, because I think property developer says you just want to earn lots of money.
Yes.
I also
they assume it.
So I ask people that question, and then I answer it, because they're going to ask you after, aren't they? But I seriously, if my children can grow up to be the best version of themselves, then I'm happy. And I think, like, if you're creating wealth, then you're giving them every opportunity to.
I love that.
And that's simply what it is for me.
Do you think that's come down through generations a little bit with with Tony and that as well? Like, that's kind of how you came through, and then you're passing that on as well.
If you're into cricket, you got the newest laver and wood.
Nice. I love that.
Not the grey nickels that everyone wants. Yours is made in Hawke's Bay. And you
Gold.
do that because you want you want everything for them. And it's also a challenge to yourself, because you said, how do you have time?
Yes,
and
it's a key one.
And definitely when you're trying to build relationships, you're trying to make people feel good about themselves, and then sometimes you do come home and you're blank.
Yes.
Because you have used it all,
Yes.
How do you put that all into family and things as well after you've had a stressful day?
Well, that goes back to your sales side as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
'Cause you know what it's like to be on that side where you are constantly, and we talked about it right at the start, sales and emotions. So a lot of the time, same as us, Ryan, we're dealing with, it might be divorce, it might be finance, real hardship in terms of the financial situation. And on the opposite side of that, a lot of elation and happiness from getting into a home as well. But a lot of the time, you're actually sharing so much of your emotional capacity with other people that when you get home, you're like, mate, I'm done. I can't even get 2 words out, let alone sit down and
And it's an important part of your day, man.
Yes,
and
it is.
So and if you're not coming home with something, then you got to ask yourself,
You've had a huge amount of time and experience, obviously, in the financial industry. It's tough at the moment. We know it's tough. A lot of that, and the thing I love about you, Cookie, as well is like you're like me. We're positive people. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're very optimistic. We're really positive people. We don't really pay so much attention to the fish and chip wrapper media because we're out there actually seeing what's happening.
Yeah.
I want to talk about people that are on the fence at the moment. They're nervous, obviously, about purchasing a home. They're confused about rates. They're confused about the economy. They're just confused. What's your advice to someone at the moment that's looking to buy? What should they be doing, and what kind of advice can you give them to kick them over the line?
Oh, man, could go on about this for a while here.
Take your time, mate. We're in for a good time.
So, I guess I feel like politics or the property market, everything is driven by media for starters. Like if the media want to make molehill into a mountain, they've got the army to do it. They can do it. And so if interest rate, man, I was so sick of the media focusing on the OCR.
Oh, it's every week.
Going up.
Yeah, every week.
But and I guess it depends on your age as well. But if you've entered the property market and you've witnessed interest rates that were 2%, 2.5%, you've just got to tell yourself that that's probably not going to ever happen again.
Yes.
And
100%.
it may, but it's 5% lower than the New Zealand average interest rate for the last 30 years.
Yeah, look at that.
It's not the normal.
It's not the normal.
And I think just to interject, it wasn't normal. Everyone, whether you were in the mortgage broking, whether you're in the real estate industry, whether you were in the cars, anyone would be able to say, this is not normal. It's mental.
So right now, interest rates are at the average New Zealand interest rate for the last 30 years.
So
it is at the average. And this slump is nothing on 2006, 2007.
That was the other point I was going to make.
The banks are not setting up hardship teams. Like when I was at the bank, we would just start losing staff, and there was a new floor leased, and there was a whole floor lease for getting people debt recovery, basically, and mortgagee sales. It was all on, and that's not happening now.
No.
And yes, there's still some hurt to come potentially. But it's a good time for cowboys to get flushed out in industries.
For sure, because they do come, don't they? That's
absolutely. But so I guess the point of that is, like I'm a gut feel guy. I'm not a read the paper and what should I do? What do they think's going to happen?
You're not easily influenced.
100%. Nah, and I almost, I guess that's like also there's a bit of drive there. So you go if they, you use your brain, but if they're suggesting that it's the worst time ever, you kind of want to prove them wrong.
For sure. I like that. I like that.
And then you call on your network to help you find opportunity in a market that's tough.
For sure.
But right. So right now, like we've been selling, and this by no means plugs for us, but like we've been selling townhouses. We've had 2 valuers buy off us in the last few months.
You're kidding, really? Wow.
And if you've got a respect for like what a property valuer's opinion is, why are they buying property off the plans at the moment?
And these guys are trained. Like, this is what they do.
Correct.
You know, like, they know that if this is the time to buy, then this is the time to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I get it, the like sensitivity margins with the bank where they, you know, you work out what you can afford at 7.5%, and the bank's working it out at 9%.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get finance approved right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank God they did that 3 or 4 years ago.
Yep.
Because everyone's interest rates are rolling over and they can afford to keep their homes.
For sure. Yeah, well, that's why we haven't seen as many mortgagee sales, right?
Correct. So the country's taken learnings from that.
Correct. Yeah.
Dramatic time.
Yeah.
But I, honest to God, hand on heart, would say it is a very good time to buy a house if you're in a position to buy one.
For sure.
And 65% of New Zealanders own their own home.
Yep.
It's in the 90s, it was about 75%.
Yeah.
But you know, if you work off data, then 65% of New Zealand have taken that leap that you're questioning whether you should.
Yeah. Yeah.
And talking to a mortgage advisor, which I once was, is not a daunting process. Like, it's free. I would often sit down with someone and say, hey, if you knew what you were doing, I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
Like, you're a gift to me.
Yep.
Like, and my role is to take you through this journey and introduce you to my network and to make sure you make a good decision.
100%.
And that's what I get out of bed for.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's why the greats, you know, that's what, when you're looking at the mortgage industry, you know, and I mean, hey, half of them are working for Home Loan Shop now, but when you look at the greats at what they do, it's exactly that. They're not looking for the short-term clip. They're not looking to just, that one's no. They're looking at relationships. They're looking at, you know, it's an advisory role, but they're looking at going, hey guys, maybe now isn't the right time, but this is what you can do. This, and this.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And like, they've got no problem. Mortgage advisors have no problems with you saying, hey, I'm looking to buy in 12 months, but can you tell me how to be prepared for that? You know, like, that is totally, absolutely an acceptable meeting to have.
And
and to do it with someone who's educated and done it for 10, 15, 20 years is a very good decision.
100%.
And it might, you know, like, if you're just saying, if you could buy a house today, would you? Yes, you would. Obviously, there's scenarios whether you're ready to buy a house or not. But a lot of people hesitate whether it's a good time to buy or not. And there's like silly sayings like it's time in the market, not timing. You know? But I mean,
don't wait to buy real estate.
And you know, houses double in value every 10 years. And they do.
I mean, if you actually look at the when you look at the curves,
back at the stats.
100%.
And that's factual. But if it's just, should I do it? It's a very good time to buy. There's a lot of townhouse developers like us who are happy to see this market through. So there's not huge profit takings. They're happy to ensure they keep the strongest staff with them, and they're looking to sell at really favourable pricing. There's heaps of that out there. I don't think it's going to last long.
No.
Like, if you ask me to put a time on it, 6 to 9 months.
I would agree with that.
I was going to ask that off the back of obviously going through that GFC, everything your experience in the industry. Where, I know it's a hard question to answer sometimes, but where would you see it going over the next kind of, just your take? You know, over kind of
totally.
like where it's going to flow to over the next kind of 12 to 24 months.
And like, you know, this is like, sometimes you do listen to the media.
The good ones.
But you just pick up things and you're like, I agree with that.
I agree with that.
But it's going to take time for these special votes. Potentially, is New Zealand First going to become part of that? And realistically, there's not going to be any budget until after. They're saying there might be a draft budget and policies.
But that's still we're right. We're by the time those special votes come through, as you said, we're a month and a half away from the end of the year. And then most of those guys are going to be taking time off anyway.
Realistically, we're not going to get kind of transparency till March, May next year. So that's going to slow down the 6 months' time, next year is going to be better.
Yep.
Yep.
It's going to be a real slow change.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether National just do hard and fast,
Yep.
bright line, or
interest write-off, or
interest right. Whether that's like a hard and fast, and that creates confidence that the media.
Yeah, well, that's what they're already. That's what they're already.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're right; they're already flip-flopping already.
Yeah.
Oh, National's in. Everything's going to be great. Investors coming back in the market.
Yeah.
And Trade Me put their report out. Oh, spring resurgence. How can they say a spring resurgence? It's only been 1 month of spring.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
If
You know
it's
what I mean?
selling,
Not
if
enough
it's
time to
selling,
measure
it.
yeah. So if it sells papers, they.
Of course.
So you're thinking,
I think it's
not
going to
so
be
much 12 months, maybe next 24. That's where you see a true kind of pattern of where we're maybe heading.
Yeah, well, I think there are a lot of people, like I just referred to before, buying now, which is smart.
Yeah.
If we're talking about a trajectory of house price values, which I'm assuming you're leading to, then I still think you've got to give it 9 to 12 months. Personally,
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, or if you get an event like COVID that just makes
Hopefully
everyone.
knock on wood,
hopefully
that
that
doesn't
doesn't have a
happen again.
resurgence, mate. Far out. We don't need that bad.
Yeah, then everyone's wrong.
Once in a once in a millennium.
Next time that happens, I'm going to be ready.
Exactly. Yeah, next time. Hey, let's talk about townhouses. Let's talk about developments, because it's an interesting gig, and it's one that look, we're here based in the Hutt Valley. Obviously, Lower Hutt is primarily where you've got most of your developments at the time. I know you're up in Mana and Kapiti as well. What's the most important thing you're looking for when you're looking for, it's the stage one? What are you looking for? Is it location? Is it size? Is it what is it that you're looking for?
Yeah, good call. I think if you looked at our stock, it's not. Yes, there's an element of them that are the same and similar typologies, but they'll also be in similar areas of Wellington, of the Wellington region.
Yep.
We look for opportunity to, like a horses for courses type saying. So it's a hard question to answer. We'll run feasibilities on inner city living with, it might be a 3-story apartment. It might be, so does that work across the road from Waterloo train station?
Yeah, exactly.
Does 2-bedroom townhouses work on Knights Road? Or do standalone homes work on Waikanae Beach?
Yeah, for sure.
So we try to pivot and not to just be one selected model.
I like what you're saying there. Yeah. Because the subsidiary...
And that keeps it interesting as well.
Well, the subsidiary question to that as well is we saw in that 3 to 4 year time gap that the Hutt really did get slammed with townhouse developments.
Absolutely, yeah.
And now there's almost a saturation of that kind of stock that's out there.
Yeah.
And also going back to what you were saying before, just enjoying the work that you do you see that, the change in medium density developments in Lower Hutt is going to be, now we've done the townhouse model, is to be more ergonomic with the designs and more about lifestyle and where you live and play and these things that we're coming into with technology and other things? Is that something that you guys would play to?
Yeah. I guess it's whether your development hat is I'm in your city to make money or I'm here to improve what Lower Hutt or Mana is.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. That influences it hugely.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess we've had a 2-story, 2-bedroom townhouse odyssey. It's crazy.
There's a few of them.
Yeah.
There's a couple around.
And the Hutt, I think Lower Hutt statistically has had the most of that specific typology in the country.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's flat. But it's interesting, like I've run feasibilities today, and I've run them to similar, like you guys will have a 3-bedroom house on 600 square meters. That 2 years ago, a developer might pay $1 million for, and a first home buyer might pay $700K. Now you run the same feasibility, because if you take 100,000 off 5 townhouses, a developer will pay $500,000 and a first home buyer will pay $700.
True, gotcha.
So that concept is gone.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that you're saying that the golden times of the townhouse model have potentially
it's going to reshape.
Evaporated for a while.
It's going to reshape. So you can now build 6 stories.
So that's 6 stories. 6 stories.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And also under the new district plan, correct me if I'm wrong, Lower Hutt's like all medium density.
But if you're like,
entire Hutt Valley.
yeah, if your house is next to 2,000 square meter site next to Woburn Station, there's a black zone between 3 stories and 6 stories.
For sure.
It's just not feasible.
Yeah.
And like someone might prove me wrong or give it a go and good on them, but I'd say 3 stories is going to be the next transition of Lower Hutt.
For sure.
It will be railway line focused.
Yep.
Public transport.
For sure.
Whether you're like me and you are pro car parking.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not an easy conversation with urban designers at the council.
Yes.
We get talked out of that all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, I'm not against electric anything.
No, of course not.
It's, if you're asking me what I think Lower Hutt's going to be looking like, we're going to go up in certain areas.
Yes.
It'll be 3 stories.
Yep.
And it will be hugging public transport.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And the 2, I mean, there will be the odd 2-bedroom, 2-story townhouse pop up, but it's pretty hard going at our end.
Yep.
To deliver that now.
Worst and best part of the day.
Of the day.
Yep.
God, every day.
He loves every single moment of it, I'm sure.
Best part of the day.
Especially when he's
it depends, man. Like, how do I balance like my 18-month-old meeting me at the front door versus getting titles out?
I love that you made the correlation between those two.
Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah.
Be careful what the
titles
answer
out
is.
on 22 properties or a hug from Georgia. How good.
Yeah. Oh man, every day's so different, man.
Yeah.
Do you love that about your job?
Role as
yes.
well.
Yeah. If you ask me, the worst part of my day is that I'm in the middle of, say, 5 professionals or areas that I'm going to influence that I have to make one decision for.
Right.
So and that decision has such a snowball effect.
And is it, like we're down there today and someone's like, oh, why's the roof line like that? We have to like do that roof like that and that roof like that. And you're like, yeah, because we go back to the resource consent, we had to like change the pitches of the roof so that we get through a density rule with high bulkness for that neighbour or whatever. And they're like, but they're more worried about how the roof's laid.
Of course.
Just little things like that. And you're like, so pretty much the bit I don't like is like, because we've talked about relationships and stuff, I'll have specific parts of my day where I have to try and keep 4 or 5 people happy. And I'm like, oh man, making those 2 people happy makes sense. And then being real busy and trying to find time to explain why I made that decision to the other 3. Sometimes you're stretched.
I love it when I call you and I'm like, how's your day going? And you go, just been in my fire engine putting out fires. And it's true though. It's true. Like it's the metaphorical side of it, but it's true because you're navigating so many different types of emotions.
A classic fire engine would actually be quite good.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be quite hard as well because you're someone who would always want to make everyone happy, right? And feel good and please them. So if you're having to go, well, hold on, I'm actually going to focus on these 2 here. It's still hard to be like.
It's easily the hardest part of my day.
Yeah. And just the layers of people that you've got underneath you, because I mean, like at any one point in time, you've got subbies, tradies, you've got trade partners, you've got your own staff. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of people that, and then you've got agents, and then you've got buyers, and then you've got sellers that you might be working with. So many different, elements to that game.
Yeah. Full on.
I had a quick question for you, which relates back more to the real estate side of things as well, because, as you said before, you've been buying and selling property for some time now, 2002, almost 20 years. You're looking at site acquisitions, and I know for a fact, having done it myself, that you've sold the family home a few times as well. Real estate agents, you've dealt with a lot of them, different brands, different factors. What would you say to any of the real estate agents that are listening now for someone that's so within the industry of ours? What are some of the good attributes you'd say about a great real estate agent? And what are some of the things that really just tick you off? Like, what are some of the things that we do? Say the do's and don'ts, if you would.
Yeah, good call. The do's are like the more natural you can be.
Yep. So again, authenticity.
Authenticity.
Yep.
Like you can't like. I think I think real estate agents, mortgage brokers, property developers all get potentially tarnished with the same brush. Like
we're in a little bit of a
for different reasons.
Yeah.
But when you meet a real agent that's just down to earth,
yep.
that's it's all you really want. So that would be my first tip. Just be yourself and be. Yeah,
it's a great point. It's an absolute great point.
Look after that person like it's family. Like 100%. Should they buy that house? Or how can I get the best out of this?
Yes. Yeah.
That and communication.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Key.
Like I've drilled communication into anyone I can in my circle. But I don't think you can ever over communicate. But if you're communicating a lot but really transparent, humble, natural, it's I mean, if you're communicating and like, do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it? Like,
over and over again.
There's a different
type of
communication. There's a difference though, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like there's the seller's side of that, which is, hey, we just had the open home. Just want to let you know, we had 4 groups through. I'm going to make the calls tonight. I'll give you the open home, feedback report tomorrow morning because that's when I'm going to be, collating, that kind of communication.
Yeah, and it might be less but more informative. Someone, you've just had someone's first open home.
Yeah. And I've been running around,
and you
about
they're like
house ready.
Yeah, their open home was between 12 and 12:30.
Yeah,
like how many people were there?
Yeah,
what was the feedback like? Did they turn all the lights off?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
All that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like if you've got 5 minutes to go, hey, this is how many groups.
Yeah.
Real short, and then say, but I'll call you tonight and give you a better.
100%. Yeah. Because I'm in between open homes. Yeah.
Getting chased by your customer
it's
on how it went. Yeah, no,
terrible.
Yeah.
Worse.
And then. Yeah, what's the worst thing you could do as a real estate agent?
I mean, we've only got a couple of more minutes, so keep this one to a couple of examples.
Yeah, do everything
the opposite of what I just said.
Yeah. I don't know.
I suppose but to be fair, I mean, for me, looking at the 3 things that you said, it would be the opposite of communication because I don't think there's anything worse than being a client and being left out in the dark. I think that's kind of, you've come in, you've earned our trust, you've said that you're going to do these things.
Yeah.
We don't know whether you're doing them. We don't know how the open home's gone. We don't know, whether the inspection, whether they liked it, whether they didn't like it. And then you're misinformed. You can't make a decision.
If you're not communicating well, then there's a really good lesson to be learnt there. Are you not communicating because you're too busy?
Yes.
Are you not communicating because you've got anxiety about ringing that person?
A fear around, I don't want to deliver bad news, which is part of our game. You've got to do it.
And just pick up the phone and do that. Like, don't text, don't email, challenge yourself, ring that person, and that'll get easier.
Yeah, 100.
And are you not ringing them back because you're not in it anymore? And maybe there's something else you should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great point. And I've been in that scenario with you. Like we've had, properties that we've been selling under development where I've gone, oh my God, this purchaser, I'm going to have to call Cookie. I'm going to have to.
He's sitting here, man.
Like literally tell him, literally tell him what this person, you know what I mean? And you do because you're like, I'm like, Cookie's going to think I'm an idiot. Like Cookie's going to think I'm not good. And then all of a sudden you get so caught in just doubting yourself where it's like,
delay it.
It's you got to have that confidence to be able to understand that those sometimes are the best conversations, and what comes out of that, is a stronger bond.
And that, for me, like that's back to my business banking.
Yeah,
for sure. I remember getting wrapped over the knuckles by my manager, Robin Dodd, saying, you pick up the phone and you ring them.
Yes.
You do not hide behind an email.
100%.
It's like,
what was the I heard another great one today, which is screens drain energy and face to face or over it gives energy. Because you can't understand what someone's saying over you spoke. How many times have you got that text? Okay. And you're like,
all the old thumbs up emoji.
That's
you're
the
like,
new
well,
one.
is that like a good
That's the new one.
Sometimes when you get it though, do you go, okay?
Oh yeah, there we go. Just in different tones, eh? No, he meant that one.
Yeah. He meant that way.
All right, Cookie. Well, it's been great to have you on the show, mate. Any last words of advice or tips and tricks for anyone listening?
Ooh,
we've nailed a bit.
Yeah, hard out.
There's a
We've done
few in
well.
there.
Yeah,
Does he have anything left?
Yeah, I guess like you said, I am busy, but I do love what I do,
Yep.
and I'm a huge supporter of Kemi's Brothers.
Yes.
Yep.
And if there is anyone listening that would like my input or advice or help with something, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Because I'll do that to support Chip, Ryan, and the Kemi's Brothers.
Appreciate
and
it, mate.
I'm an open book.
You
Yep.
definitely are, mate.
Yeah.
And look, once again, thank you so much for coming in. You know, when Ryan and I were talking about, you know, first and foremost, starting this podcast and then where we wanted to take it, you know, it was we're definitely going to have some guests on, you know, because
We're very excited to get you on, mate.
yeah,
Very
and just
excited.
also to break into like the first guest to have someone on here. You know, I joked around at the start by calling you the GOAT, but you know, and you talk about your circle of influence, and certainly that crossovers into mine. There are many people I could call, mate, and have a yarn about you, and that have nothing but great things to say. And I think
Appreciate
that's, you
it.
know, really evident of the type of person you are. So,
Yep.
ladies and gentlemen, that's it from me. Thank you so much, Ryan
It's all
Baker,
us.
for joining us.
We're all done.
Always
Cheers,
cool.
lads.
No worries,
Always
mate.
cool, calm, collected. And as we say on the auction floor, when she's all done, all silent, we are gone.